Vance's speech, though, was on substance pretty incoherent. I mean, the idea of saying everyone is invited and that this is the greatest coalition of supporters, and then also saying in the United States of America, you don't have to apologize for being white anymore, and that we're a Christian nation doesn't feel particularly inviting to me. But today, Donald Trump's approval with Gen Z voters is at 29%, and he's only at 32% with Latino voters. It has completely swung back to the usual levels that we saw in the 2020 election when Joe Biden got 81 million votes. He has a lot of work to do, and you saw that coming to bear also the November 5th elections in like New Jersey and Virginia, right back to where we started. So those voters were on loan for one election. He's going to have to do a lot of work to get them back.
If there's one thing that Fox News hosts hate more than anything, it's having a mirror held up to themselves and dealing with the ramifications of their policy positions. And token liberal Jessica Tarlov does that more effectively than anyone still allowed on the network.
Telling you what she's
everything's
hearing?
a psyop. Remember when AOC was letting undocumented people know their rights? And she said, here's a list of things that you are entitled to by being here, even if you are in this country illegally. And they said that the AOC was committing a crime, that she was trying to tell people to do illegal things and evade ICE when she was just telling you what your rights are. And these Democrats are doing the same thing. They're saying this is what your constitutional oath means.
She gets even further under their skin when she dares to defend the human rights and dignity of undocumented immigrants and migrants in general. But Tarlov, surprisingly, isn't the only Fox host who hasn't bought the administration's narrative without questioning it first.
I was reading some interesting stories this morning about all the Hispanic Americans who voted for Trump, which we know a lot, had voted for Democrats before, particularly in places like Texas, voted for Trump. And there are a number of stories where they are saying they are horrified at seeing who ICE is going after, right? We know 75,000 as of October, people that have been rounded up by ICE have not been accused or charged with a crime. Right? I remember before the election when everyone said, he's going to go after the worst of the worst, murderers, rapists. That's not what's happening. They're going into a lot of primarily Hispanic.
Did y'all see that video of the girl getting shot by ICE? That was insane. Even if she was like resisting arrest, if she ain't made no attempt on that officer's life or that ICE agent's life, he just took her life. That was crazy. Let me know if y'all want me to do a video on that. That was wild.
Communities, rounding up people, elderly people, young kids who've been here, elderly people who've been here for decades, and Hispanic supporters of Trump are like, wait a second, this isn't what we bargained for. And so I think, 170 American citizens have been rounded up mistakenly during these raids. So I think there is something to be said. I'm looking to Hispanic voters who supported Trump who say, wait a second, this isn't what we were told ICE was going to do, and they're now having some buyer's remorse. I think that's interesting.
Which part of mass deportations now were Hispanic voters not aware of when they voted for Donald Trump? He was pretty explicit on the campaign trail.
Before this segment really kicks off, it's important to note that Marie Harf here is not some devout leftist or even a progressive with her politics, yet simply recognizing the humanity, inherent dignity, and civil rights of the victims of the Trump administration's sham immigration crackdown was enough to send her co-host into a complete frenzy.
He did say, though, Kayla, he did say we're going to focus on the worst of the worst, murderers, rapists, people charged with crimes.
Which is what he's doing, but you want to keep them here, too.
75,000 people who have been rounded up by ICE have not been charged with any crime. That's not the worst of the worst.
No, they're here illegally. They're still criminal.
That's not murderers, rapists. That's not what he said.
But they're still here illegally.
The largest mass deportation in American history.
But I think that's why some Hispanic, I don't want to speak for Hispanic voters. I was reading interviews with them this morning so we could talk about this. They are showing some buyer's remorse. They said, wait, I didn't think they were going to come to my local bodega and take away the person I've bought coffee from every morning for 20 years.
It's incredibly dangerous for Kaylee McGee White to tacitly equate the status of undocumented immigrants with heinous crimes like murder and rape. This rhetoric isn't accidental. It's a foundational pillar for the modern conservative movement. They rely on the all undocumented immigrants or criminals talking point because it provides a convenient moral cover to justify the mistreatment of anyone who doesn't fit their narrow, exclusionary perception of what a true American should be.
I'm not going after my own kind because my own kind will do it legally.
Born in Mexico, Agent Claudio Herrera first came to the U.S. as a student. He says it took him 11 years to become a citizen, and 6 years ago, he joined the Border Patrol.
I've been asked sometimes before in my past, aren't you ashamed of being apprehending your own
What do you say to
blood?
that? How do you answer
Of
that?
course not, because I'm protecting my community. My deepest advice to anybody that is coming from Mexico, we know that you want a better future for you and your family. But if you decide to do it illegally, you will only find jail or you will only find death.
When you listen to that officer's reasoning for joining the Border Patrol, it exposes a fundamental misunderstanding of why people flee their homes to begin with. The reality is that the legal immigration path conservatives talk about has become a reflection of extreme societal and economic privilege. For the vast majority of people, there is no line to get into. The system is designed to reward wealth while criminalizing the desperation created by global economic shifts.
Back a year ago, what did we see on the issue of immigration? Latino voters trusted Kamala Harris more than Donald Trump, but by just 2 points. 1, 2. Look now at Donald Trump's net approval rating on immigration among Latinos. He is 38 points underwater. That is a 36-point shift, essentially, from where we were a year ago on immigration. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are basically tied on the issue of immigration. And now on the issue of immigration, Latinos despise, hate Donald Trump. 38 points underwater. In their mind, he is doing something absolutely wrong when it comes to immigration. Trump's net approval rating among Latinos. In early February, again, he was just 2 points underwater. Look at where he is now. Late October, minus 34 points. 34 points underwater, a shift of 32 points over the course of this year. I should point out this is the CBS News YouGov poll, but I was looking at the average of polls. I was looking at our own poll. Very similar shift. 20, 25, 30-point shifts on the net approval rating away from Donald Trump among Latinos overall. Again, whatever Donald Trump is doing in office, in the minds of Latinos, it is not working. They have turned against him in massive, massive numbers.
You know, if Democrats want to win the midterms, they have to stop playing defense, start flipping the script on this issue. They need to lean into the Republicans' own contradictions, highlight how these policies are a direct attack on human dignity. By framing immigration as a matter of civil rights and economic reality rather than fear, they can reclaim the narrative, turn a perceived Republican strength into a major political liability.
Hello, everybody. David Schuster here. Thanks for watching.